Good morning. This short presentation is going to be going into the COVID-19 and a few statistics on it to see if we can help a little bit with restoring calm. Then after that, we'll go into another couple of minutes just talking about how you can reinforce your immune system if you still have concerns after that. This presentation is being put together by Yoga Analysis as part of our Yoga Physiology series. Okay, immune system reinforcement. Number one, this is the biggest single place you can put some attention to help your immune system fight off any infection, including coronavirus, better. There are 42 essential nutrients. These are chemicals that have gone through a process by the scientific community to determine that these are essential to eat on a regular basis. And if your blood levels of this or tissue levels of this get too low, you will either die, you will be unable to grow, you'll be unable to repair, or you will lose your fertility. So these are really important chemicals. These are 42 of the chemicals you have to get in to stay healthy. And if you get low a little, moderate, or a lot, or totally devoid in it, you'll get into varying degrees of serious health conditions. So very, very important things. People should be getting these 42 essential nutrients tested every year, in my opinion. And this will do more to improve the country's health care than just about anything else. All right, what are these 42 essential nutrients? We're not talking about food groups. We're talking about specific chemicals within any food group. So there's the essential amino acids within the protein food group. Of the amino acids, there are about 20 that make up proteins in humans. And out of those 20, 9 of them are essential amino acids. You have to eat these and your body will make the rest. There's 2 fatty acids, specific types of fats. There's 17 minerals. There's 13 vitamins. All 42 of these things you have to get on a regular basis to work properly and fight infections well. Now, some of them are more important for fighting infections, some are less important for fighting infections. But they're all going to have some role to play. If you can get all 42 of them up to snuff, fantastic. But let's go into a little more detail and then pick out some of the key ones for fighting infections of these 42. So there's the list of the 9 essential amino acids. I'm not going to go into detail on each one of them. Same with the minerals, that's the list. Here's a list of the fatty acids and the vitamins. Okay, those are the things you have to get. Okay, now what are the biggies? All right, vitamin A. Let's talk about this for a little bit because this was very, very interesting. The World Health Organization was going to Africa. They were giving away vaccines for, I believe it was measles, and tens of thousands of vaccines. And one of the interesting things they found was there was no decrease in the mortality rate in the regions where they were doing this. So then they went back and looked at it a little bit more in depth and said, like always, the people who are dying are those with impaired immune systems. Not only do they not respond to the vaccine, they, even if they did respond to the vaccines and didn't get the measles after getting vaccinated against it, they died a week later from something else, some other infection that they weren't vaccinated against, the common cold. They died no matter what. The vaccine didn't help prevent people from dying. Then they went back and said, all right, well, immune system, what is it that this region they're missing that is preventing their immune system from working well? And they found the biggest single factor that they could address easily was vitamin A deficiency. A lot of people there were deficient in A. And without proper levels of A, your immune system does not work correctly for a bunch of reasons. So then they went back out into the field and they said, all right, we're going to give the measles vaccine and a big dose of vitamin A at the same time. Lo and behold, the death rate now drops dramatically. Okay. They have not done yet, to my understanding, a study of just looking at, well, what if we just go out and give the vitamin A and not the vaccine and see how that impacts mortality rates. But, so vitamin A, if you're here, you're low in A, your immune system is not going to work good, you'll be more susceptible to getting and having a more serious case of coronavirus. So make sure your A levels are up to snuff. Number 2, vitamin C. You make white blood cells in response to any infection. These white blood cells go around, they will swallow the viruses and digest them inside there. Your body, when it first knows it's under attack by an infection, will start ramping up the production of white blood cells very fast. These white blood cells are made up of all sorts of chemicals, including a lot of proteins that make up the cell wall and other things inside the cell. If you don't have enough protein of certain types, very specific proteins, you cannot make the white blood cells. So where does vitamin C come into play? You cannot make proteins if you are low in C. Everything you've ever heard about vitamin C doing comes down to this one function. When you're piecing together and building a new protein and you're adding one amino acid after the other into this chain to make a new protein, it takes a bunch of enzymes to add these proteins together into the chain, and vitamin C is needed to bind together 2 specific amino acids to make a new protein. You don't have the C, you can't make the new protein, you can't make the white blood cell, you can't fight the infection. Now, it might not be that you stop totally producing white blood cells, but your vitamin C might be 10% below optimal. It might be 50%, it might be 90%. The lower you are in C, the slower your response is going to be to making new white blood cells to fight the infection. Key. Next one, vitamin D. Vitamin D, you've probably heard lately a lot of information is coming about how vitamin D helps the immune system. This does it via a very specific mechanism. It helps you absorb calcium from your diet. It prevents you from losing calcium in the urine. How is calcium related to the immune system? Well, calcium has some really peculiar properties where it will work almost like a hormone, a chemical messenger that will go to cells, including in the immune system, and calcium will bind to the cell walls and turn on certain functions or turn off certain functions. And if your calcium levels are getting off, you're not going to be having this chemical messenger working properly. And your calcium levels will get off if your vitamin D levels are off. So that's where vitamin D comes into play. And that is a hugely important factor in our area. Long Island deficiency rates are estimated at 70%, even in the summertime. People are not getting enough sun, and they're using too much suntan lotion, so that now D levels have been plummeting in the summer in this area because of the overshooting the mark on the suntan lotion issue. And in the winter, it's even worse. 90% of the population is low, and coronavirus looks at this point, this COVID-19 version, looks to be very susceptible to the amount of sunlight and D levels, because there is much more of an outbreak now in the northern hemisphere, which is in winter, than in the southern hemisphere, which is coming to the end of their summer. So people there have vitamin D levels that are much higher, and they are that much stronger to fighting the infections. Now, I also want to add in here, amino acids are a factor. Of course, if you're trying to make a new white blood cell, you need to have a whole bunch of proteins that are involved in white blood cell production. The proteins are made up of amino acids, and if you get low in any one of the key ones, you can't make the white blood cells. So in the US, the problem with getting deficient in any of these key amino acids is not that people aren't eating enough protein, it's that they're having trouble digesting it. So anybody, for example, on an acid suppressor, that will impair very significantly your ability to digest and absorb protein and be able to build new proteins to make white blood cells. So digestion issues, acid suppressors, people who have regular diarrhea, gas, any kind of difficulty at all digesting foods, you're going to be at a higher risk of getting into amino acid deficiencies and then slower ability to build new white blood cells to fight infections. Thank you very much for your attention on this brief recording. If you have additional questions, you can email me at jwallman@drwallman.com. Be happy to answer as quick as I can. And have a wonderful day and stay calm. Thank you.